push them back.
Yeah, just combo them. Yeah. Seems like it has some benefits and some cost because he gets shoved out of lightning rod so easily.
Yeah.
Does have boss HP, I will say that.
He has a lot of HP.
Keep going and going and going.
Primitive battle horns. We just need one more Darksteel. I'm gonna go Infinity first. And deal with the Notorious Mark here. Oh. Jill, please move. Thank you. Yeah, this is rough. Isla, well, Waloed riding with Ambrosia is really rough because all the rocks everywhere.
Yeah, Waloed is a test of patience with Ambrosia. This area is very rough to get optimal movement through. And I mean like the whole thing, not just little bits of it. A lot of this area is really rough. Even the places that are like an open plain, the swampy segment, it's so easy to get pulled back into those enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Look who's here to meet us. Pity there don't seem visitors.
So, you remember back to one of our first ever mini bosses that we had to face? We finally get the upgraded version of them.
Yeah. This one doesn't come with extra fire.
No, it comes with extra spin moves.
Yeah. Thankfully, you can cancel the spins with those charged blades or with limit break, but man, if it wasn't for that, these things would be so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Just the worst.
It. Just play it safe here.
Yeah, hitting the rollover moves can be kind of... It's honestly a lot more difficult than it actually is. You have to launch it pretty early to get it to the land.
Yeah, I was a bit behind in getting the Burning Blade up, so yeah, by the time I had it ready to release, yeah, he'd already run me over.
I've had warmer welcomes.
It was a good showcase that, like, you have enough keep or whatever you want to call it that you didn't get knocked out of the animation, though. This game's very generous with, like, not knocking you out of animations for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
If it does, it usually doesn't, like, rob you of all the benefits of it.
Might this be Nickelbug? Be safe.
Yeah, the random village over here, such a weird one.
At least the third
Like,
chair
wait, I
still
missed a
lays.
village? What the heck?
Didn't even see it when we run past on the way to the tower, but yeah, these are basically they're the devout followers of Ultima, and they believe that the Fallen are chosen ones.
Yeah, it's just a cult. Just a cult. But I mean, that is the one thing with this game is, like, it does have a very big variety and depth to it, where it's not a lot of one-note things, and it is a very nice add in because it makes it a bit more apparent where it's like you're fighting Barnabas and you're like, this man is just he's unhinged. I don't know what to say. And then you're like, how would anybody follow this guy? And then you like realize, oh, so that's what it's like. I see.
Yeah. Not much left to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Notorious Masks, 1 Marks 1 Chronolith, a couple of quests to go only. We're definitely in the end of the cleanup. Strength tonic here. Nah, the edge of it.
The slipping iron giants out of the bunch.
It's my favorite design. Ooh, a bit too. Yep. Finally another level up. 47 now. Easily, I think, like 6 levels above where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, oddly enough, like we'd be reaching cap if this were full vanilla. Because it's supposed to cap at 50, but it actually got bumped to 60 by both the DLCs. So there's no way we're going to reach level cap, but we're almost reaching base game level cap. So I remember, like, I hit level cap pretty easily, but it was like the AP I had to grind out for the side missions and stuff.
Yep.
So that I had enough AP to level everything up.
Unfortunately, we get transferred back to Tabor, but that's not too much of an issue because we'd have to warp anyways back to Shadow Coast to get the next Notorious mark.
It has been forever since I've seen these mercs, so it's a blast to see them again.
That's it.
And it's just also just so satisfying just running through them as well.
Yeah. Especially when, like, your casual experience. At least for me, particularly, I try not to get, like, too spoiled, so I avoid pretty much all the information. Which leads to me, like, banging my head against a wall quite literally, the way that I play. And then I, like, watched somebody else do it, and I was like, why didn't I do it that way? Oh, wait, that's right, because I was the one playing. That explains everything.
I'm going to use a strength tonic here. Then what I might do is just head back to the hideaway to grab some more strength tonics for the other Notorious marks that we'll have to face.
Yeah, it makes sense. The Orcish Warlord is a long run and also very easy to die to because of the Kamehamehas they get.
It's the king of the castle.
Especially since they warp around so much. You end up wasting your time trying to get back in. And the next thing you know, there's a beam coming out. You're like, oops.
Yeah, this one's a really, really interesting fight because there is just a lot that goes on in this fight. But on the positive side, because he does a lot of attacks and moves, especially Lightning Rod actually is your best friend on this one.
Spends a lot of time hitting Lightning Rod on his own.
And just with proper timing, you can get like level 3 Mega Flare very quickly on Sanguine Rift as well. staying in the right zone. If you time it correctly, that is, and not do that.
Yeah. There's like something to be said about like being in limit for Wings of Light, so that you don't get interrupted and it's not too hard to get the dodges.
Mm.
You can end up taking a lot of damage, but it's very nice to get the guaranteed Mega Flares because they actually add up really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But especially since it's a lot of damage that you don't actively have to be in control of. As long as you're not dead, it's dealing damage.
Yeah. And it's just nice passive, constant damage as well, so you feel like you're not wasting time just doing aerial combos. It's constantly coming out.
So, what it be?
Ultimate weapon.
Right.
Oh.
It's the other reason why I came back is because the primitive loincloth from Pandemonium was the last thing I needed.
Go on then.
Fortunately, they give it to you before the like ultimate hunt, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So you have access to it.
So speaking of which, actually, let me. Oh yeah, I'll just do that. Where are you? You are. Riven Gate is the closest. Yes, it is. I believe it is. We'll check. No, Glorious. There it is. Dragon time.
Yeah, a lot of these hunts are kind of hidden away in a nook somewhere, so you just have to know where to go. Luckily, once you get into the actual like map of the area, if you're familiar with it, it's not too hard to figure out because there's a lot of dead ends that are like there's just kind of nothing there.
And there's like hardly any quests or missions that drive you down there, so it's like, I wonder what's down here.
The one that's usually a big tell is when there's like a big opening, clearing of just like a giant circle, and you're like, yeah, I think I know what happens here. This one's a little bit less obvious because it's not necessarily just a giant clearing. It's that big kind of J hook. But yeah, this fight is not an easy one.
One of my favorite fights to do, though, because it's so diverse. Like you've fought dragons before, but the scale of this dragon and the attacks that it does.
It's a very interesting fight because it definitely is one of the hardest fights in the game. First couple of times I got rolled by it pretty hard, but I ended up doing a couple of resets after I beat it just to mess with it a little bit more. And that's the mark of a good fight, in my opinion, where you're like, I want to test my limits a bit more than just be done with this.
The big thing is Mega Flare. So you can deal constant damage to it. It's one of the only few times that I would really actually go for Mega Flare level 4, just so you just have constant.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about re-brocking it. It just lets you focus on doing everything on cooldown. Then once everything is on cooldown, you're probably in a position where you're ready to Mega Flare again.
Yep. Pretty much.
It's the only downside of the dragon. It's really hard to get close and stay close.
Which is impressive considering its size. It just loves to constantly teleport around. So there they go. There's one fireball only, and I've already taken a fifth of damage.
I needed that.
So they definitely expect you to upgrade your armor by this point too, which we've pretty much not done.
Might just go for Mega Flare 2 only. Come on.
Really very few things that you're at risk from dying from, but if you can. I usually grab the mithril wristlet and then upgrade my armor at the wall, or a little bit before that. Belt. Luckily, the like Mega Flare passively dodges here, so it's not too annoying. The only issue with the Mega Flare is like if you get far away like this, it's just not doing anything, and it does like to lock in on the lightning rod, which is a bit frustrating too, because it eats up the hits that your lightning rod should be taking. Luckily, Lightning Rod's pretty good once you get it upgraded with the wider AoE on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Alright, here comes the devastation move. Embroil you absolutely need to watch out for.
Last dance indeed. That's going to end up being your last dance if you're not ready for it.
We are in the clear. Not bad, just a couple of the embroils hit me, so I had to use some high potions because the embroils do half damage, so...
Like the last elixir wasn't super needed. Potions would more or less do the same thing, but it can very easily that you get comboed to the point where you don't have a chance to hit potions unless you're already ready the moment you get touched.
Yeah, you just accidentally dodge the wrong way to avoid a lava plume from like a red dawn, and all of a sudden you get hit with the embroil after effect.
If you're gonna buy some, be quick about it.
I'm just gonna refill my high potions. I'll grab some more strength tonics as well, actually.
Go on then.
If I did this category, I'd definitely be a massive coward and upgrade my armor. There's no way. Dragons scare me too much.
Potions can come back on.
So you've got strength pots.
Alright. On our way back to Elude. There's... Alright, we have... that one's... Actually, we will go up here and do this mission first.
Faster. Doris is waiting for me near
I
the
think
dark.
the last couple missions. Waylude has like a very small amount of missions, but they are gated in a really weird way.
Yeah, so like this mission here, you have to do all the Curse Breaker stuff first. So you have to do all of Doris's missions. We also have to do like the scout report as well, in order for Doris to actually be here. I mean, they're also like very interesting because there's a lot of lore that the Waloed missions have. That reveal a lot. Like there's a lot that was assumed in regards to how bad the bearers' lives were, but Waloed itself just amplifies exactly how terrible it was.
Because Waylude was an isolated country, so like a lot of what we knew was from like old information and like assumed based on the way that it was, but it's definitely way worse here than the stories told.
So this, in effect, was a prison that they put bearers in, and it's not your regular prison where, you know, you're sentenced, you do manual labor and stuff like that. Bearers were selected at random to fight things like chimeras and dragons and things of that nature as well, for entertainment. It was not pretty.
Yep.
And if you think it was just adult bearers only, you would be gravely mistaken.
Yep. Waylude is one twisted country. Though, I guess it's a statement on people being sycophants by just believing in something. Blind belief can be dangerous, or something like that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to we have to go all over the place, and we slowly get drip fed to like the actual reality of this place. We're like, oh, okay, and then you're just like, oh. All right, can we leave now? I don't like it here.
Yeah, the more that you uncover, the more you just get icky feelings. It's like, I really don't want to be here anymore. Can we I want off this ride.
Mom, I'm scared. Can you come pick me up?
I love that I am able to unlock the door. I skip a cutscene and then I have to open the door again.
Survivor.
That's one of the survivors from the prison.
He's out there waiting for me.
The one.
The one, yep.
Yeah. Literally the only one.
And this is what she was going to have to face. It's a behemoth.
The behemoths are already pretty bulky and hard to get through. This upgraded one is a little bit more terrifying than the previous one.
Oh yeah,
That's for
absolutely.
sure.
Hits like an absolute truck. On the positive side, though, again, because it's got a very, very large hitbox for its attacks, is that, again, just eats through its own health and will with the lightning rod.
Yep. Lightning rod really shines when you can get enemies to consistently hit it. It's good when you're hitting it, but it's so much better if you get the enemy to hit it. The only downside is, like, obviously the best time to use it is during an enemy's stagger, and you're just kind of like, wow, can't get that extra damage. But
It's a good trade-off. It depends on what you are focusing on. If you really want to make sure the enemy staggers, then make sure that you get them to hit it so they can, choose their own will gauge down. If you want to do extra damage, then absolutely release it around the start of the stagger gauge, and then obviously just time your attack so you can get the max out of it.
it's a really good combat choice where, like, it allows you flexibility in your playstyle and kind of rewards both. Both are valid, but it never really getting your enemy to consistently hit it is a good skill, because it shows that you have a pretty good understanding of the way they attack.
That's the last behemoth we'll face. This one's also a really, really deadly encounter as well.
A bit higher, I think this is S-class, yeah? Yep. The most dangerous hunts. Theoretically supposed to be more dangerous than a dragon, but I find the dragon to be way more dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's because the last dance from the dragon is absolutely terrifying. If you're not prepared for it, whereas with the Behemoth King, like, you can pretty much get away with. You can make a couple mistakes because it's also only level 47 compared to the dragon's 50. No, get out of the maelstrom. Maelstrom's a one-hit kill. Or very close to a one-hit kill, I should say.
With our current defense and stuff.
Yeah. Because, yeah, surprisingly enough, we're not actually going to, like, buff any of our defenses because it's just, using time that we just don't have to do. Really, there's no real need for it. You can potentially get away with it with the, using it, obviously, for the dragon. But outside of that, once you get used to, like, any percent, there's really
Yeah.
very little that's you going to be worried about, because if you can get through Ultima without having to worry, that's dangerous.
Honestly, like I said before, sometimes dying in Ultima is better anyway, because then you get all your cooldowns back, and since you have most of the good stuff in the game by that point, you can just kind of go whomp, like firing your laser. Yeah, so luckily a lot of these multi-hits you can easily cheese multiple Mega Flare dodges off of, as long as you're mashing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of free damage, especially like in this state where you get the enemy staggered, so makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, that's what makes I think makes the Behemoth a bit easier than the Dragon, is because it does have those area of effect attacks that are very consistent that you're able to dodge. Makes them slightly easier to deal with.
It's even funnier, like, when you can set it up with a lightning rod and they just end up tanking themselves.
Yeah.
Like, alright, see you later, buddy.
Yeah, the best one's the actual Behemoth fight in story mode, where you just literally, it sends out Comet, you send out a lightning rod, and you just see its HP go from 1/3 to 0 in like 2 seconds.
All you do is just don't get hit. That's like, okay, I'm gonna stand here while this lightning rod just smokes it. Yeah, there's a couple places you can use Lightning Rod in New Game Plus at the beginning, like on the Infernal Shadow when he does the Fire Pillar, or like Aerial Burst on Garuda. They both feel really good. Unfortunately, they have to be New Game Plus.
The interesting thing about this, there is a Notorious Mark here, but because of Vivian's quest here, we can't actually have the Notorious Mark spawn, because the quest takes priority. The way that you actually have to get the Notorious Mark to spawn is by actually leaving and coming back in, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is a really weird one. So it's like, oh, there's a mark there? I'm pretty sure I went there, but I don't remember a mark. And then I'm like, oh, I see. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. There we go.
Actually, no, we can chop her right from here. That's fine. Rachel? There you go.
Run like the wind.
Get the Ogre for the picks. So we picked up, this is probably the longest quest that we keep is Laid to Rest, so we picked up the first time we go to the Lude because we don't go back that pathway where the guy gives us the quest. But because of the Curl here, we're kind of under level for the Curl when we first come to the Lude, so I don't really like fighting it. It takes ages to fight it, so I prefer coming back here. So this is the longest. We're about to finally finish the longest quest that we've got, because we've had it for over 4 hours now.
Yeah. These guys, the corals are super fast and can do a lot of damage really quick, especially at A rank. No reason to make your life harder than it needs to be.
Especially because it's level 40 and coming here at like level, I think it's like level 28 or 29 when we first fight it. It's, yeah, it makes the fight not fun to deal with. That's Wild Charge. I am going to do this.
It's not going to be very wild for long.
So Wild Charge is kind of annoying, but there's not really a great way defensively to deal with it. The best way that I do it is make sure I have full limit break, so if it does attack me, I can at least tank it. Because it's very hard to see, because there is electricity absolutely everywhere, so it's very hard to see where the actual curl's actually hitting you from.
It's always hopping around too. The only thing you can really do with that, if you have Lightning Rod up, is to like bait it into Lightning Rod, and it'll end up knocking itself out real quick.
Yeah.
Because it ends up hitting the Lightning Rod a few times during Wild Charge.
That is a deceptively dangerous notorious mark, especially if you make the mistake of actually running into it first and going, well, I should be able to take it on level 28, and then you realize it's 40, and yeah, that wild charge with static is really bad to deal with.
Yeah, the enemy like is kind of placed in a spot where they're like, hey, look, there's this neat little enemy to fight. Then you walk over there and you're like, oh, what the heck? This is not so neat, please. Because honestly, like the interact hitbox for that fight is fairly large, so it's something you got to be careful about in any percent run. If you try to take too straight a line, you can end up getting punished real hard.
Mm-hmm. All right, 2 more quests. 1, 2, 3 more Notorious Masks to go, and 1 Chronolith. It's the actual... the quest here will take... we'll do the Chronolith first, and then we do the quest. Because the quest, I believe, takes us back to the hideaway. So if we do the quest too early, then we have to come all the way back to the Chronolith, because there is no checkpoints in the conservatory. This is the closest checkpoint we've got.
A wide open area with very few fast travel points, because it's intended to just be like a one and done area for the most part. There we go. It finally happened. Damn it, Ambrosia.
Yeah, Ambrosia dropped the dash, hitting a rock.
Back to the stables, girl. This must be the orphanage. Hopefully the registry is still here.
Alright, this is the one that I'm the most worried about. Alright, final Chronolith. So the only time that we've used Odin in this run is using Gungnir to get Zenkazuken 5 against a bunch of enemies. This will be the only other time that we use Odin.
Like good casually, but it's like it's one of those really deceptive things for like a speed run. You would think it gets used, but the problem is it takes so much setup that it's just not worth it. It is extremely strong, but the problem is you waste a ton of time needing to build up your gauge. And like the regular iconic feats are just really awful in terms of bar building. The only thing it's really good at is if you're in the iconic feat mode and you like jump and slash, he has a very steep angle that is really good for going downstairs and sloped surfaces.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's to the point where like once I do the Ravenrit walls, even though it's not faster than the bird, some runs I'll just use it to go down the stairs because feet gliding just feels so good.
So you can kind of see the problem that we've got. So things like Gungnir and Heaven's... Gungnir is extremely good if you have multiple enemies to be able to build the gauge, but when you've got a single enemy like this, it's very difficult to build the gauge consistently fast.
It's like a really weird, like, should I hold it or should I use it? It's super weird. So they're really not very... Go ahead.
What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to hold Zenkazuken for the next fight. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to get through that first phase with the boss really, really quickly. Luckily, we've got enough power with, obviously, our ultimate sword, so we can actually do fairly consistent damage without having to use any of the abilities. So it's not a complete waste, and it's not like we're completely draining time, but we just got to be very careful of when we're going to use Zan 5, because we don't want to waste it on a single boss enemy. We actually want to waste it when we actually need to get a lot of enemies off screen very quickly.
Yeah, the problem is like Gungnir and Heaven's Cloud, like just straight up nerf your damage. Even Dancing Steel's damage is not too good. It's fine when you like combo it with Lightning Rod, but the problem is if you need Lightning Rod to combo with it, it's not gonna help here.
The other consistent thing that you can do is, like, lunge attacks with multiple enemies is really good at charging it up as well. If you can grab as many enemies in it, you can charge pretty quickly. That's the other backup that you've got.
Free Gungnir. But as you can tell, this like does double digits, and it's like low 20s for the normal attack, so it actively debuffs your damage output outside of using the iconic feat over and over again.
And
So
as a result of that, you don't get as much limit break as well, because you're not doing as much damage to enemies. So if you really want to charge limit break, you actually have to use regular attacks.
Odin really shines when you're like using Gungnir or Dance of Steel or Heaven's Cloud in between other attacks. But when you're forced to use it alone, it's just like, what's happening here? I feel much weaker than I actually am. Like the trick with this one is just like getting the little bit of time that you need and then just doing the rest with your regular attacks.
Rift Slip does help make it a little bit easier, because if you time a Rift Slip perfectly and counter an enemy, you actually get a much bigger reduced time, so you don't have to wait too long for your Odin abilities to come back, but sometimes the timing window on that on attacks is really difficult to master.
Yeah. There's any ability that requires like you to be hit or to dodge a move, like the timing feels like it's all over the place. It's kind of different for every single move. So it's a little bit hard to adjust to.
Dancing Steel, God, this is not my favorite one.
Yeah, like I said, without Lightning Rod, Dancing Steel just kind of feels like you're hitting them with foam bats.
And you have to kind of position, because it takes a while to charge up as well, and so you leave yourself exposed and wide open if that's the case.
Yeah, when I was trying to like pick up some of the stuff from Final Fantasy mode, there was a lot of places where you'd set up a Lightning Rod into a Dancing Steel. But it's so often that this happens where you're just like, I hate this. I really just hate this. Luckily, once you get into the cutscene, damage isn't too bad, but it could be so much more. Dancing Steel is one of those, like, I understand completely why some people like tried Odin and they're like, what is this? Why is it so bad? Well, Zan Gauge meter is interesting, but on its own, it's frustrating to use for sure. It almost would have been interesting if they had like Chronoliths that let you duo, or specifically were only 2 icons or whatever. So you could test out specific synergies, or they could force specific synergies to get you to be like, look, Rama and Odin are really good because of Lightning Rod plus all these hits.
Yeah.
Luckily, most of them are not as frustrating.
This is not the fun fight. This is the one that's actually the most painful to deal with. The problem is that you got both the Salamander and an Axe wielder, and they can both just combo you badly into one another.
You got like Dancing Steel, which is like.
So the goal is to get the dragon out first. And trying to get as much limit break as we can. So this is actually definitely one area where I just do not use Zan, because I just get much more damage output and I need to have limit break ready. The limit break is going to be very, very important for this last phase, because we are going to be facing the Chimera with Odin, with Gungnir and
Yeah.
Dancing Steel, which is, yeah. And you really want to be able to get everything out, and the problem with obviously Dancing Steel is like you need to obviously get the cutscene to go first, but the Chimera likes to jump around and move around, and its attacks are faster than Dancing Steel likes to come out. And the problem with Gungnir is that you want to get the full Gungnir out, but it's not staggering when you use it. So we'll get close to the edge of the time limit here, but...
Odin is one of those where it's like you need to either like half stun or, you know, actually fully stagger the boss to land it. It's super weird.
So that's the safest way to land Dancing Steel, is against it when it does the fire breath attack. Because you get a lot of time there to set it up. So you just position yourself in a great position just to unload it first and foremost. But obviously if you get a Zen out, it's definitely worth it if you can. Get a Gungnir out here. It's only going to be a small amount. Yeah, here comes the Dragon's voice. And then the Ram's voice. Okay. There we go. That should get us to 5. Not quite. There we go. Odin Chronoliths done. Alright. Didn't fail at this time. The Trial by Darkness complete.
Nice.
Chronolith Trials complete, so all Chronoliths are completed. And so you get the Circle of Malleus that you can see in the in Clive's room, where all the curiosities are. So that's a very, very quick check to say that yes, you've got all Chronoliths. Because the game pretty much just says, yep, you've got them all. I always forget what I need to go here. It's this one first.
Conditioning. This is nothing short of torture.
The other one's on top of the barrel here. Then
Disposed
it
of.
is over here.
Herman wasn't exaggerating. This reads like a suicide note. Did the director go through with his plan? There's only one way to find out. A forked white tree. This must be the...
We found a journal entry of all the young bearers and what happened to them, which is not a nice read.
This place is cursed.
Basically, some of them were experimented on. In terms of, like, how do we get them to become Akashic? Alright. So I'll hand over the bearer registry to Herman so we can see exactly what happened. Just going to walk back so I can give the book to Vivian. That will unlock the last quest, which would be Dion's. That will come as a form of a missive in my chambers. And then we have 3 notorious marks left to get. Oh, actually, we'll just quickly check. There's only 3 left for me to get. I know exactly where they are.
It's worth just the people are them.
Oh, wrong one. It's the top one, isn't it, Phoenix? It's the top one. Should only be 3 left. 1, 2... Yep. The third one will not appear until you do Dion's mission. That's the S-rank Dragoon. $29.40. Yep, we are on track for all Renown. Yep, new quest is available. Which is, yep, in my missives. I'm gonna quickly refill my potions, which will be
If you're gonna
not the
buy
last
something
ones.
quick about it, it'd
Be the
better
second
all
last
be
refill that we do.
You're rubbing me blind, you know.
Making amends. This is the final quest. Slightly behind, so it'll probably be a 13:30 by the looks of it. Because we'll go for about like another 10-15 minutes doing the side quest, and then the hunts, and then we go into the end game, and that'll be about 20-25 minutes.
Lawsman Harpocrates.
Sounds about right.
Alright, so we need to get at a wild wyvern table near Rickmall's Roost. We have to go to Aisler, that's the closest location. We'll have to fight a wyvern quickly, and then pick up the wyvern tail. Fortunately, it is 500 yards away. There's no other quicker spot we can go to, unfortunately. It would be nice if you could warp to the Chronoliths, because the Shiva Chronolith is actually nearby it. But unfortunately, we're not allowed.
Honestly, it would have been really nice if the Chronoliths, like, either just in general had a warp point near them, because a lot of them you bounce off of the first couple of times you try it, and you're like, okay, whatever. And then you're like, I'm gonna come back to this later, which some of them are more so designed that way, since you end up needing a lot more strength than skill with some of them, i.e. like Odin, where you need to be able to get through it without Odin completely.
Yeah, especially the most obscure one's Garuda, because there's literally nothing around it. Like, there's no quests around it, there's no marks around it, and it's just in a really obscure place to try and get to as well.
Shouldn't be too hard to find.
No. We are going to have to take care of the wyvern, because unfortunately we can't actually pick it because the wyvern's nearby. So, not allowed to pick the plant whilst the wyvern's here. Go. Oh, way too quick.
Here they are. Might as well pick.
Hand this off to Dion. The good thing is that the last 3 marks that we are going to chase down aren't too far away from where we've already got obelisks and warp points to, so it's not going to be too difficult for us to get to them. Right, first and foremost, I'm going to get the Waloed one out of the way, because that's the furthest one on the map.
Let's go. Run like the wind.
This will be the second last time we use Ambrosia as well. Ambrosia's going to get a very nice long rest after this.
That'll do, girl.
After the Garuda spawns.
Carmen's madness lives on.
Without Ambrosia, this category would have been so much longer.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with all the movement tech that we use with it.
I do really appreciate the Showboat movement tech in general. It's like there is movement tech in the game, but it's not. It's more so just like knowing your ankles,
Yeah.
so you don't run into the ground. Ambrosia, you actually get a little bit more deep in the combat, or the movement rather.
Storm Chase is annoying.
Yo, fire laser. Let me learn that. Joshua, help me out. You gotta teach me how to do this.
We're just going to make one last change to our abilities. That becomes Rising Flame, because it's only one-on-one abilities that we're working on now. So, Flames of Rebirth has done its job for the day.
I remember when I picked this up and I was like, oh yeah, the Berserk Ring is really cool. And then I figured, and I was like, oh, this will be useful in speedrunning, yeah? Then I tried it a little bit and I was like, oh yeah, this just makes a cutscene happen every time you parry. That's bad.
It'd be good if it wasn't a cutscene every time.
Yeah. Nice little short limit damage buff on the counter too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, well.
So this Chimera here, you can't spawn unless you do Eloise and Theodore's second mission for Boklad, because that's when you first meet a Chimera.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. I was like, why? But yeah, it makes sense. They like to introduce the fight through the normal story and then the variants after.
Oh, that's cruel. Still getting decent damage, but I'm not getting the Mega Flare. That's annoying.
Oh yeah, that is kind of rough. Ooh, I see. Yeah, he jumped out of the way of the Mega Flare. Well, it looks like the Mega Flare dropped off anyway after he jumped out, so... was gonna miss out on it anyway, I guess.
Just annoying.
Yep.
Damn that Delta Force.
Wind-up is such a weird one. You gotta charge it up. Like, you can turn it off while you're charging it, but sometimes you're just not expecting it to whiff. So you throw it out there, and the next thing you know is you see the enemy jumping across the room, and you're like, I hate this.
Why you do this to me?
Yeah. Dude, some of these enemies seem like they're not going to be very agile, and they just schmoove all over, and you're like, whoa, this can't be right.
3065. I'm actually going to reload here. Because then I'm just going to warp out to the Dragoon anyways. Because the Dragoon is the last one. That is the very, very last boss, because you can only unlock that by doing Dion's mission, because obviously the Dragoons are the special enforcers of the Sembrek army, which Dion used to be the captain for. So he actually is following Dion. I went to the completely wrong area. Up here. And he actually holds a vendetta against us because he believes that we're the ones who caused Dion to go insane and become Bahamut.
Yeah, pretty much. Believe you think that all you want, but that ain't the case, buddy.
Actually kind of unfortunate, because even though it's like the last boss that can be unlocked, not an S rank, it's an A rank, and we are just way too overpowered.
It's like, it fits thematically, but its difficulty is not high enough, for sure.
3100 Renown should be full Renown. We will check by just double checking checking the hunt board, make sure we've got all the hunts. I'll also just double check just the Renown as well. All X's, there's no blanks, so all the hunts are done.
Welcome to the Patron's Whisper. Come to claim your just desserts.
Unsigned is the highest one you can get. Because I just want to have more ability points. So that's there, that's confirmed. 3100 is the max Renown we can get. There are no other active quests except for the DLC, which we do not do in this run. And all Chronoliths were confirmed to be done because we got the message, but we will also showcase the curiosity that shows that we have the Circle of Malleus that confirms that all 7 Chronoliths were done.
If you're gonna buy some, be quick about it.
Just gonna quickly buy my last potions that I need.
It'd better all be here.
Yeah, luckily the potion vendor's right next to the your room, so you can, that shows all the stuff. Pretty
Checking the
easy to
missives, there are no
show up.
green ticks, so there's no outstanding mission there. Wall of Memories shows that we have every single curiosity, so all quests were done. So we are good to go into the endgame.
Let's go.
The interesting thing about this fight, quote-unquote fight with Ultima, even if you don't, the animation for both passing and failing the quick time events for this are exactly the same. It just changes the amount of damage that you receive. That's it. So theoretically, you can actually do this by failing everything except for mashing square at the end.
Yep.
It's always fun to watch people panic when you sit there on barely any health because you decide to fail and the screen's flashing red.
There's no way to die here though, because it always does just short of your full HP bar for the whole thing.
Yep.
And then it doesn't affect your HP when you exit this and go into the final fight, so there's no reason to care. So one last bathroom break, at least for, you know, with all this extra stuff, it probably is pretty nice.
Absolutely.
In terms of a run, I end up getting here and I'm like, this is actually nice because I can unwind a bit. You get through the last area and there's a lot of like, not necessarily difficult fights, but it isn't super easy. The early Ultima fights can be very stressful.
And considering that, like, leading up to Ultima, you've just got back-to-back-to-back mob fights and single fights, that it's just very intensive, basically all the way from Barnabas all the way to Ultima. The first Ultima fights, it's just intensive. Like, you don't really get much of a breather until you get to this part here.
Funny thing is, like with these mashing cutscenes, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I hated it. Made my hands hurt and stuff." The game doesn't really tell you, but you can just do like one input a minute if you want. You don't actually have to mash it at full speed.
Yep.
Obviously, for a speed run, we want to mash it so that we get through as quickly as possible. There's actually no mashing hard required in this game at all.
I'll do one last gear change because I don't need the EXP anymore.
Makes sense.
Judgment bolts. Yep.
Oh, I've awakened a demon.
I'm sorry about Dion. Don't be. Please. He did what he had to do. And it's time we did the same.
Judgment Ball's pretty fun. The only downside is like it's really does a lot of stagger damage. So I think it may end up staggering unnecessarily, but as long as you don't fire it off at the wrong time while he's flying up, it's a lot of free damage.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're past that, Clive.
I suppose we are.
That light, so cold. So empty. We're close, aren't we?
It seems that way. But I don't want to think what could be waiting for us in there.
Then think instead of those waiting for us at home.
Alright, here we go. Just the
And
the wind up, but that's fine.
Countless centuries have I waited for this moment.
yeah, I was honestly gonna say it's probably better to use the thunder over wind up because it's a little bit easier to land.
Profaned.
Just involve thunderstorm instead. But
It must be.
can't go wrong. Honestly, like you almost want to end up using that stuff instead of Giga Flare because you don't get the giant cutscene on it, but you get the same damage.
Yep, absolutely. Giga Flare is just the last emergency, especially if he does Holy, because he's so far in the air.
Yep.
Unexpected. How is it that your will yet endures?
Because it's not so easily broken.
But it can be broken. And I shall see it so. For such is my will.
Ah, there's ultimate. Alright,
Try it.
this is where I use it.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, Ultima is like one of those where it's like it's funny to let him murder himself with the lightning rod, but it's also so overkill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this Logos? Have you truly become?
Problem is like you can kill him before he drops Ultima, so you don't have to wait for that. But it is very funny to watch the final boss kill himself. And there's just some places where you have to have priorities in life, right?
Yep, absolutely. First, you're gonna run this long. You have to enjoy yourself at the end.
Yeah, I've been here for 13 hours. I'm making this guy kill himself.
I've done all the hard work for 13 hours. He can at least do the honors himself.
Yeah, right. Look, bro, I'm like level 50. I'm maxed out. I have more AP than I know what to do with. Just get out of my way.
Once, perhaps. But we are no longer yours. Our flames are our own.
There was a while where like I kept forgetting Ultima Arisen was a phase. Honestly, it's very fun, but somehow I keep forgetting it exists. Then I come into this fight and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, this is a thing. It is a very good like penultimate or ultimate rather Ifrit fight though.
Yep.
Because you get Ifrit Risen, and it doesn't feel so heavily chained to phases like Bahamut does.
No, it flows very nicely together.
Yeah. I guess the only part that's annoying is the purple orb phase if you let it happen, which usually is the case.
Yeah, very, very difficult to skip that. It's very precise.
Yeah, the backdraft finish is so much fun, but nice. Yeah, you can like very easily like loop dodges through the that attack, the purple explosion orb, but it's really faster to just not let it happen at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this right here, we can just dodge through if we're really being cute about it. Which is way better than backing up and then coming back in. Because he's vulnerable for a bit after it finishes.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to hit.
time the brimstone there, that's fine.
Yeah, this is a little bit interesting. It's like you gotta, if you're not on the right cycle, you end up just getting hit by every single orb when you try to go for a back draft finish. So you end up in like this weird pattern where you're like, look, I want my finisher. Because he always spawns the orbs right in front of you. And if you dodge to just dodge like that at the wrong time, that's exactly what happens.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that feels so bad. It's really hard to restrain yourself at the end of the run, though, because you're just like, all right, dude, just get out of my face. It doesn't help that a lot of his attacks cover a huge amount of screen real estate.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
It's very hard to like effectively dodge them, especially since a lot of them end up chaining you into one into the next, into the next. There we go. Nice backdraft finish. It always feels good when you can come out of the go right into the stagger with backdraft finish.
Yep, absolutely. And then yeah, it's perfect health timing as well, because then you can finish up with brimstone into spit flare finisher during stagger.
No. My will is inviolable. Something is wrong.
You're afraid.
Turns out blue fire demon loses to red fire demon. Who would have
The
thought?
night exposed what you were. Weak. You conceived us to prove otherwise. But the results shook you to the core. For in us you saw yourself. And realized
It's funny that he's coping so hard this entire fight. We have enough time to recharge all our specials many times over. No, I can't be losing. I have to keep yapping. I'm just waiting here. I got all the time in the world.
That's what happens when you're caught monologuing.
Yeah. It's a Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise moment. Just shut up, sock it to him. The final hit is very cathartic, though.
It is extremely cathartic.
Just yaps this whole fight. You're like, shut up!
We've got 3 parts of this fight basically to go, and then the last hit. Where we basically...
Luckily, the last hit's super obvious.
Bathed in light, I stand above you, my rebirth complete. And you, for your defiance, shall pay the proper price. An eternity of anguish.
It's like a me and all my homies hate Logos moment. It's like, well, sorry, buddy, but that doesn't... You and all your homies ain't enough.
Bring us together. And that makes us strong.
Hey, stop using Euclidean against me. Rude. It is such a, epic final battle as well. You know, just seeing all the icons come out with the allies cheering you on.
The two of you just like trading blows while you have the edge. Just all your experiences while he sat here resting on his laurels, trying to steal your body. I'm God. Obviously, I can't lose. Sorry, buddy, but you have not seen the previous 15 games, have you?
You're a divine being, huh? Well, nah. I've got bad news for you.
If you're a divine being, you better be afraid in a Final Fantasy game. They just haven't learned yet. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
go to the emergency. We pull the emergency button.
Oh, that's weird. Your stream froze on the... Oh, there it is. Never mind. Never mind. I was like, no, don't freeze. It's been like 13 hours. You must finish.
We've been so good.
Yeah, okay. I just didn't want to have the ending be frozen after all that work. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Only minor panic. No major panic. 13 hours worth of panic. He thinks he can out laser beam us. That's funny. We out laser beam Bahamut when Bahamut was still Bahamut. I don't think you stand much of a chance, sir.
And we survived the Zeta flare. We can do anything we want.
Together!
Yep.
Darkness, unending.
Onward, my son.
No, mine is the altar at which you pray. Mine are the eyes that look down.
Limit break.
And yet still you cannot see. You are no better than us. We are one and the same.
We are not the same.
I'm just going to use Giga for him as well. And of course he teleports again. Rude.
Yeah. That's the other reason Giga kind of stinks in here, is because it's at the whim of the boss just deciding to dip out.
Yep.
Good at building limit break if it lands.
Phoenix. Forevermore.
Yeah, that's actually, thinking about it, it's pretty impressive to like have a 13 and 20 minute estimate be more or less on time with how long this is. Oof.
So you shunned the
Very
one
impressive.
that could have made you stronger.
Yeah, some of the early fights of my 80% weren't that great. I whiffed a couple of minutes really early on because I accidentally deleted my abilities against Jill and Tiamat.
yeah.
So I just use ground combos only. But yeah, no, very, very strong mid game. Very happy with this run.
Luckily with those, you have the Buster Swords, or the whatever DLC weapon you use, so your damage is just so high.
Yep.
The punch God in the face. Let's go.
Here we go.
Domination asserted.
Time will be coming up shortly.
The only fantasy here is yours. And we shall be its final witness.
This animation does look so much better with Goddard though, in my opinion. So that's that very streamlined, angular design.
Yep.
Zoop.
Dead.
Right through. And now he's holy.
And that is time. Ooh.
Goofy look on his face. Wiped it off.
Punched into
GG.
oblivion.
13-hour run. Impressive.
Ooh. Yeah, the 99999 really sells it at being a final blow. Bit of lore, obviously, because this is lots of lore. We're going to end with the lore, basically. We won't be able to watch the closing cinematic because there's copyrighted music on it. Yeah, which will get the thing taken down. So when we get to the credits, obviously, yeah, we won't be able to do it. Basically, we've defeated Ultima. We've destroyed the origin, therefore the last crystal. We sacrifice ourselves to do that by also resurrecting our brother Joshua, who actually passed away just before we started this fight. And then the world actually ends up healing itself and actually becomes a livable place even without magic. And it's sort of hinted at that because there's a book on a shelf that is named Final Fantasy by Joshua. Joshua. So it sounds like whether this is
Joshua
potentially a
doesn't actually have the
fantasy
last
book
name.
or a historical document. It's a bit unclear, but
We survive.
Yeah, there's a couple of kids playing in a house that are like talking about playing mage and stuff, and they're kind of making light reference to this entire story.
yeah.
So the indication is like Joshua kind of wrote it as a memoir / maybe fiction. And people have moved so far past magic, they don't even think it's real. It's just a fantasy.
Yep.
It's a Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that was the all around Chronoliths. A lot of fun doing this run. Like I'm addicted to running 16, and yeah, definitely working on this run. Thank you everyone for joining and hanging out. Thank you, sort of obviously for the commentary when you've been able to do it. Really, really helpful.
Yep.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, glad I was able to drop by, and thanks for asking me. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thank you everyone for the donations as well that we had during the stream as well. Greatly appreciate it. It's all for a great cause. Thank you for all the tech stuff and everyone for A, letting me run this game, B, also for the smooth, stream happening in behind the scenes as well. Really, really appreciated.